Hey, this is Ethan here at eTrailer. Today we're going to be taking a look at and showing you how to install these Pewag all-square snow tire chains on our 2022 Ram 2500. These are some pretty aggressive chains. They would be used in heavier snow and icy conditions compared to something that has a little bit smaller links that might be used for just sort of emergency case only situations. These chains are pretty large. The links are square, which is going to help with biting in to those ice and snow conditions. They are a ladder pattern style chain, which means that the chains go straight across the tire. It's going to help a lot for starting and stopping, but because of that and because of how large the links are, you're definitely going to be able to feel these while you're driving. That being said, if you're using a chain that's aggressive, you're probably not going to be super worried about the feel while you're driving. You're more concerned about getting there. The chains themselves are composed of a nickel manganese alloy, which is going to hold up to rust, weather, and damage way better than, say, a low carbon steel chain might, and you should be able to get a few more seasons out of them comparatively. The chains do come two in a set in this pretty lightweight canvas style bag. It's definitely not my favorite, especially with larger links like this and these pointed hooks on the end. There's already some spots where it's starting to poke through a little bit, so if you're going to get chains this big and aggressive, we definitely recommend grabbing some sort of plastic tote, something larger, and that's going to keep the chain secure and keep the weather out of the chains as well. As far as the installation goes for these, it's pretty straightforward and you don't actually have to move the tire while you're doing it, so you can check out how we did that now. To start the install process, the first thing we like to do is to lay the chains out flat, making sure that nothing is twisted or tangled. Additionally, you want to make sure that the chains are facing the right way. You do that by checking these big links at the end of each set of chains. You'll notice that this side is flat. This is the side you want making contact with the tread of your tire. This hook side has some pointed ends that you don't want making contact with your tire. Lastly, you want to make sure that this lever is on the side facing you, because we'll have to interact with that after we make our first connection on the back side. To start, try to make sure that everything is centered as possible. You'll grab these two links in the back and drape the chains over the tire. They're pretty heavy, so try to make sure that they don't hit the rims of your tire too much, and then try to space them out as evenly as you can around, because that'll just make things easier for us when we need to make our first connection on the back side. To make the connection on the back is pretty straightforward. You'll just fit this hook into one of the loose links on the back. We'll go for the third link in our case because it seems pretty slack, but we can always come back and adjust that based on the front. To make our connection on the front, we'll use this lever, fit it through one of the loose links on the other side of the chain, slide it down, and then we can lever it backwards and connect it to this loose link, just like that. With these types of chains, they do have the tendency to shift around a little bit while you're driving because there is no built-in self-tensioning. So we recommend getting one of these rubber tensioners here at eTrailer. You just put them on the same way, or similarly to how you would put a tire on or take it off, making sure that the hooks are facing outward. Connect them in sort of a star-shaped pattern. Again, just because as you move and drive along ice and snow, the chains will shift. The tensioner will help keep them in place. Once you've done that, that's it for the installation. Make sure that you put them on the passenger side tire as well. Roll forward and backwards a few times, making sure that everything is in place where you want it. We do recommend trying these out in your garage beforehand if you get the chance, because you don't want to do this for the first time when you're out in those conditions. You want to make sure you know how to do it. But that's it for the install. You're ready to go. Overall, again, these are some pretty aggressive chains. You're going to use something like this in heavier snow and ice conditions. If you don't need something this aggressive, you could maybe check out some of Koenig's self-tensioning diamond pattern chains, which will give you more coverage on turns and less of an aggressive ride. But right here was just a look at the Pewag all-square snow tire chains on our 2022 Ram 2500.